They gave me 30 days to kill her mother, the woman who witnessed everything. I had the gun. I had the address. I had no choice. And then I remembered 4 seconds. One hug. Her daughter asked me if I was sad. I chose to show her mother mercy, and that mercy killed us both. Welcome to Afro-Korean Real Tales TV. What you're about to hear is a story that will break you and rebuild you in the same breath. Comment where you're watching from and hit that subscribe button right now, because this story, it doesn't end where you think. Let me tell you about Kang Minseok, glory, and the hug that echoed across death itself.
4 seconds. That's how long Glory hugged Kang Minseok outside the Hamilton Hotel in Itaewon. 4 seconds that would chain their lives together across graves and years and impossible choices. Let me take you back to where it started. Tuesday, 4:47 p.m. Winter in Seoul bites differently. It's not just cold, it's personal. Minseok was walking back from what he called a business meeting. We both know what that means when you run the Kang organization. 20 years building an empire on broken bones and sealed lips. He was 40 years old, devastatingly handsome in that dangerous way. Sharp jawline, coal-black eyes, a faded scar above his left eyebrow from a knife fight in his 20s. The kind of man women stared at and men avoided. Expensive wool coat, 2 guards flanking him like shadows. He looked untouchable. Until he saw her. Glory Okafor, 7 years old, skin like polished mahogany, eyes that could see straight through the lies adults tell themselves. She wore a purple jacket 2 sizes too big, her older sister's hand-me-down. She sat on a flatly Samsung Electronics cardboard box, the irony sharp enough to cut, Korea's wealth beneath Korea's forgotten. She wasn't begging, she was drawing. Chalk butterflies, dozens of them, pink, yellow, blue, and houses with triangle roofs and square windows, the kind of houses that existed in imagination only. Minseok walked past, tried to anyway. "Ajashi." Her voice stopped him cold. She'd stood up, chalk dust painting her small hands like powder from broken dreams. "Ajashi, 슬퍼요?" Sir, are you sad? His guards tensed, hands moved toward concealed weapons, but Minseok raised one hand, a silent command, stop. He stared at this child, this impossibly small human who just asked him a question no one had dared ask in 15 years. "안아줄까요? Can I give you a hug?" Later, Minseok would tell his therapist, yes, even monsters get therapy, that in that moment he saw his daughter, Jisoo. The daughter who stopped speaking to him 6 years ago when his ex-wife finally had enough, when she closed the door and said, "Don't come back, she's afraid of you now." Jisoo would be 13 now. He didn't know for sure, wasn't allowed to know. But Glory's eyes held the same light Jisoo's used to have, before he killed it with his choices. Kang Minseok, the man who'd ordered executions over coffee, who'd broken a rival's hands with his own fists, who'd built a criminal empire on calculated cruelty. He knelt. The concrete was cold. It hurt his knees. He didn't care. Glory stepped forward and wrapped her small arms around his neck. He smelled cheap soap and concrete dust and something else, innocence, a scent he'd forgotten existed. 4 seconds. In those 4 seconds, Minseok's hands trembled, these hands that had never shaken during violence, during interrogations, during the moment he'd put a gun to his own father's head and pulled the trigger to take over the organization. They shook, holding this child. Glory whispered in English, her mother's language, "It's okay, it's okay." And something in Minseok's chest cracked open. When she pulled back, he saw her face clearly. Stunning child, the kind of beauty that wasn't just physical, it radiated from somewhere deeper. Her smile could melt Seoul's winter. "What's your name?" he asked in Korean. She understood enough. "Glory." "Glory," he repeated. "Perfect. Thank you." He reached into his coat. His guards flinched, habit, but he pulled out his wallet and handed her 50,000 won, about $37. To her, a fortune. Her eyes went wide. "For more chalk, keep drawing butterflies." He stood, turned to his head guard, Kim. "Find out where she lives. Make sure the building has heat this winter. Don't tell her it's from me." Kim nodded. Minseok walked away. He should have kept walking, should have let it be a single moment of humanity in a lifetime of darkness. But the universe wasn't done with them yet. Tuesday morning, Minseok received the report. Glory lived in a tiny apartment in HUGGED with her mother, Kiyoma Okafor, Nigerian immigrant, worked 3 jobs, cleaning offices at night, washing dishes during lunch rush, and selling handmade jewelry on weekends. Single mother. Glory's father died before she was born. The apartment had heat, barely. Minseok arranged for the landlord to randomly upgrade the heating system, anonymous donation. Thursday, he sent a package, new clothes for Glory, winter boots, art supplies, no return address. He told himself he was done, conscience cleared, debt paid. Friday morning, 7:23 a.m. The phone call. Kim's voice was shaking. "Boss, the girl, Glory, there was an accident." "What kind of accident?" "Delivery truck. She was crossing the street to school. The driver didn't see her. Boss, she's gone." The phone fell from Minseok's hand.
Friday afternoon. Minseok stood across the street from the hospital, watched them carry the small body out in a white bag. Chioma was screaming in Igbo and Korean in grief, the universal language that needs no translation. He'd met her Tuesday, hugged her Tuesday, dead by Friday. 3 days, that's all the universe gave her after she'd shown him mercy. That night, Minseok got drunk for the first time in 20 years, sat in his penthouse overlooking Seoul's glittering lights and understood he was cursed. Everything he touched died, even kindness, especially kindness. The funeral was Sunday. Small, cheap casket, maybe 20 people. Minseok watched from his car half a block away, sent 10 million won anonymously for funeral costs. Chioma's face was a broken thing, empty, the kind of empty that never fills again. And Minseok made a decision. Every Tuesday, 4:47 p.m., he'd return to that spot outside the Hamilton Hotel, stand there for 4 seconds, remember, penance. He kept that promise for 6 years, but the universe wasn't done with impossible things. Year 6, Tuesday, 4:47 p.m. Minseok was 46 now, grayer, harder. The organization had grown, so had his enemies. Lee Sang-woo, his second in command, was getting ambitious. Minseok could feel the knife being sharpened for his back. But every Tuesday, none of that mattered. For 4 seconds, he stood where Glory had hugged him and remembered what it felt like to be human. This Tuesday started like all the others, until he saw her. Purple jacket, Samsung cardboard, chalk butterflies. Glory. Minseok's heart stopped, literally stopped. He grabbed the wall of the Hamilton Hotel to keep from collapsing. No, this was grief hallucination, exhaustion, guilt manifesting as visual psychosis. But she looked up. 아저씨, 슬퍼요? 안아줄까요? The exact same words, the same voice. He stumbled forward like a man walking through a dream made of broken glass. Glory? His voice cracked. She tilted her head, confused. My name is Grace. Grace. Twin. The realization hit him like a bullet. Chioma had twin daughters. Minseok investigated with the fury of a man possessed, found the truth in hospital records, immigration papers, the shattered pieces of Chioma's life. Glory and Grace Okafor, born February 14, 2019, identical twins. When Glory died, Grace was in Lagos visiting Chioma's mother. Chioma couldn't bear to look at Glory's face anymore, so she left Grace in Nigeria for 5 years. But grandmother died last month. Grace returned to Korea last week. Chioma was in a psychiatric hospital, complete breakdown. Grace was being processed for an orphanage. She didn't know she'd had a twin. Chioma never told Glory existed, never explained why her mother looked at her with such pain. Minseok made 5 phone calls. Within 48 hours, Grace was removed from the system, legal guardianship transferred to anonymous benefactor, placed with Minseok's ex-wife, Yoona, in Busan. Yoona asked one question. Why? because I owe his sister a debt I can never repay. But that same week, Minseok's past came for him. The organization's council called an emergency meeting. Sang-woo presented his evidence, photographs of Minseok kneeling before Glory, bank transfers to Chioma's account, proof of weakness. He's soft, Sang-woo declared to the 12 men in suits around the table. He gave money to a beggar child. He's compromised. The council leader, Mr. Back, 70 years old with eyes like funeral coins. Minseok, you have 30 days to prove you still have the stomach for this life. What do you want? There's a police informant, Detective Park. She witnessed the Hanam warehouse incident, gave a statement. She has to be eliminated. Minseok's blood froze. Her name? Back slid a file across. Detective Park, Chioma Okafor. Glory's mother. Sang-woo smiled. Problem, boss? Minseok stood outside Chioma's hospital room. She'd been transferred from psychiatric to police protection. They knew her testimony would dismantle the organization. He had the gun. He had 28 days left. He watched her through the window. She was thinner, grayer. The grief had aged her a decade. She'd lost Glory. Now he had to take her life too? The choice was simple. Kill Chioma, protect the organization, keep his power. Grace grows up an orphan, never knowing her mother survived only to be murdered. Or refuse, face execution for treason. But Chioma lives. Grace has a mother. Minseok made his decision in 4 seconds. The same amount of time Glory hugged him. Day 29. Minseok went to Chioma's hospital room. 2 guards outside, his own men, loyal to Sang-woo. I need 10 minutes with her, alone. They let him in. This was the boss, the man who'd built everything they had. Chioma was awake, saw him, knew immediately. You're here to kill me. Yes. She didn't scream, didn't beg, just, my daughter, Grace, she's with your ex-wife, isn't she? How did you... I'm a detective, Mr. Kang. Even broken ones can still see patterns. Her eyes filled. Glory told me about you, the hug, the money. I knew it was you helping us. I wasn't helping enough. She couldn't have stopped that truck. Silence. Minseok sat down heavily. I'm supposed to kill you. If I don't, I'm dead by tomorrow. Then do it. Chioma's voice was steel. But promise me, Grace never knows I was murdered. Tell her I died from grief. Let her remember me whole. There's another way. What way? You testify, give the police everything, destroy the organization, and I help you do it. Chioma stared. You'd betray them? A 7-year-old girl asked me if I was sad and offered me a hug. She died 3 days later. I've spent 6 years wondering if I could have saved her. I can't, but I can save you. They'll kill you. I know. Why would you do this? Minseok's voice broke. Because Glory saw something in me worth saving, and I need to prove she wasn't wrong. Day 30. Minseok walked into the council meeting. Sang-woo was smiling. Well, is it done? No. The room erupted. Back stood. You refused a direct order? I'm refusing all of them. I'm done. Sang-woo pulled his gun. You traitorous. Crash! Doors exploded inward. SWAT, police, dozens of them. And standing in the front, badge around her neck, Detective Park Chioma Okafor. She met Minseok's eyes. You saved my daughter's life. I'm saving yours. But Grace had a secret. Minseok took the plea deal, full testimony against Sang-woo, Back, the entire council. In exchange, 8 years in prison instead of execution. The organization crumbled in 6 months, 47 arrests. Sang-woo got life without parole. Spent his first week in prison plotting Minseok's death. Spent his second week in the infirmary after 3 inmates, former victims of the organization, delivered their own justice. Karma works fast in concrete boxes. Minseok was sent to Daegu prison, medium security. He kept his head down, didn't ask for special treatment. Every night he drew chalk butterflies on his cell wall with stolen art supplies. The guards pretended not to notice. Year 3 of his sentence. A letter arrived, handwriting he didn't recognize. Dear Ajashi, my name is Grace. I'm 10 years old now. My Umma told me everything. About you, about Glory, about the hug. She says you're in prison because you chose to save her instead of yourself. She says my sister Glory saw something in you, and you spent 6 years trying to prove she was right. I never met Glory, but Oma shows me pictures. We look exactly the same. Sometimes I feel like I'm living for both of us. I draw butterflies too, every single day. I don't know why. Oma says maybe it's Glory's way of talking to me. I'm drawing one for you today. I'll draw one every day until you come home. Grace. Attached a crayon drawing of a butterfly, purple and gold. Minseok cried for the first time since the funeral. Year 5. Grace's letters came every month. She told me about school, about her friends, about the Korean language classes she was taking, about how Oma is healthier now, therapy, medication, slowly healing. She never asked him about prison, never asked him about his crimes. She just talked to me, like he was human. In year 5, she wrote, I'm 12 now. A boy at school asked why I draw so many butterflies. I told him it's because butterflies prove you can be one thing and then transform into something completely different. He said that's dumb. I said his face is dumb. Umma grounded me for a week. Worth it. Ajashi, do you think people can really change? Or do we just become better at hiding what we are? Minseok wrote back, his first response after 5 years of reading silently. Dear Grace, I think we're both. I'll never stop being what I was, but I can choose what I do with the time I have left. Your sister gave me 4 seconds of mercy. I'm spending 8 years trying to earn them. Tell the boy he's right to question, and tell him you're right to hope. Also, his face probably is dumb. Ajoshi. Year 7. Grace visited for the first time. She was 14. Stunning. Glory's face, but alive, bright, full of the future. She sat across from him in the visitor's room, studied his face. You look exactly like I imagined. Older? Tired? Sad, but less sad than in Oma's stories. They talked for an hour. She told him she wanted to study art therapy, help people process grief through creativity. Because of Glory? Because of you both. Near the end of visiting hours, Grace asked, Do you regret it, choosing to save Oma instead of staying free? Minseok didn't hesitate. No. Why not? Because the alternative was becoming the man your sister thought she saw, and she deserved better than that. Grace reached across the table, guards tensed, and took his hand. Glory would be proud of you. 4 seconds. That's how long she held his hand. The same amount of time her sister hugged him. Year 8. Release day. Minseok walked out of Daegu prison at 6 a.m., 54 years old, gray hair, deep lines around his eyes, wearing the same clothes he'd worn the day he was arrested. Waiting outside, Chioma and Grace. Chioma spoke first. We didn't know if you'd want to see us. I wasn't sure I deserved to. Grace stepped forward, now 16, beautiful, alive, everything Glory should have been. 아저씨, 슬퍼요? The same question her sister asked 10 years ago, but this time she finished differently. 안아줄까요? Can I give you a hug? Minseok's voice broke. Yes, please. She hugged him, not for 4 seconds, for as long as he needed. 5 years later, Grace graduated university, top of her class, art therapy degree, job offer at Seoul's largest trauma center. Minseok attended the ceremony, sat in the back row. Chioma sat beside him. She's giving a speech, Chioma whispered. Grace took the stage, poised, confident, radiant. When I was 7, my twin sister Glory died. I never met her, but she changed my life anyway. She taught a broken man that mercy matters. That man taught my mother that forgiveness is possible. My mother taught me that grief doesn't have to destroy you. It can transform you. She paused. Butterflies go through metamorphosis. They dissolve completely in the cocoon. Science calls it imaginal discs, the parts that hold the blueprint for what they'll become. We all have imaginal discs, parts of us that hold who we could be if we're brave enough to dissolve everything we are. Her eyes found Minseok in the crowd. This degree it is for glory, for Umma, and for the man who proved that 4 seconds of kindness can echo for a lifetime. Minseok stands outside the Hamilton Hotel, Tuesday, 4:47 p.m. But he's not alone anymore. Grace is beside him, holding chalk. Together, they draw butterflies on the concrete. Purple, gold, pink, blue. A little girl walks by, maybe 6 years old, Korean. She stops, stares. 예쁘다, pretty. Grace smiles. Want to help? The girl nods, kneels, takes a piece of chalk. And for 4 seconds, just 4 seconds, Minseok sees Glory's face in hers. He closes his eyes, whispers, "Thank you." The butterflies multiply. Dozens, hundreds. Every Tuesday, more people join. Drawing, remembering, transforming. The echo never stops. It just finds new voices. If this story touched your heart, hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment telling me what you learned so far in this story. Do not forget to subscribe because trust me, you do not want to miss the next story. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.